Hello guys, gals, and non-binary pals, welcome back to my channel, and today I wanted to go over how I'm planning to make a heck ton of gil once 6.1 officially drops. This will go over everything that I'm planning to sell, everything that I've stockpiled so far, and what I'm going to continue stockpiling, and everything you should be looking out for in terms of releases. So with that being said, let's get into it. So the first section is everything that's new and coming and what's not coming just yet with 6.1. So what is coming is the left side and tools. It will share the same mats as the job gear currently. So how do we know that now? Well, we can figure it out by checking the old master books that released in Shadowbringers, and the first master book that released was the Master Recipes 7. Now the first set of job gear was the Facet job gears, and the crafting gear, aka the Facet crafting and gathering gear, shares the same mats. Now it is pulling from non-master book leathers, but they both share the ethereal silk, which is a master book craftable. So we can infer that they will share some intermediates, therefore I would highly advise on stockpiling the current intermediates and their materials. But we'll go ahead in the next section to go over what to stockpile, and for now we're going to continue on what will be released. There will also be new pieces of food for crafters and gatherers as shown by Master Book 7 once again. And side note, there will be no master book, but we'll go over that later. There will also be new glamour plates in addition to what we currently have. The new extreme trial will also be released on 6.1. The Endsinger and Ishgardian housing, the Imperium, will also be released on the day of 6.1, and I'll go over where and how to unlock it later. What's not coming is the ultimate. It is releasing on 6.11. Data center travel is not releasing until 6.18. New custom deliveries 6.15, accessories are in 6.2, Master Book 10 is in 6.2, new combat, food, and grade 7 tinctures are also being released on 6.2 with the Master Book 10. So keep that in mind when you're stockpiling and looking for things to start crafting on day 1 of 6.1, because these won't be released day 1 of 6.1. Now, what exactly am I stockpiling? Well, first off, common furniture materials all across expansions. Varnish, mortar, any intermediates, leathers, stones, seedlings, all of these, especially look out for plants. Commonly used items such as walls and partitions, windows especially, and any materials that create these things are going to be worth a lot. The next thing that I'm stockpiling are tome maps and crafted mats for gear. Now specifically, tome mats, which are used in the current classical job gear, will be reused for our brand new crafting and gathering gear. And how do we know this? We can go back to Shadowbringers and see what the crafting and gathering gear looked like in the 5.1 patch and see what materials they are using. So in the Master Book Recipe 7, here is the Facet Hat of Healing using ethereal silk, Calicorthium leather, and dwarven cotton. The Facet Hat of Crafting uses the ethereal silk and sea swallow leather. So what we can understand from these recipes is that they will be using current intermediates that are used in current job gear, but they will also be using things like the officcials leather and the arcane velvet. They will also be used in these new crafter and gatherer pieces, therefore going up in price. I will also be stockpiling the Aether Sands. They'll be used in the crafting gear as well. Another thing to keep in mind is that I'm assuming the new crafting and gathering gear will use something like the previous crafting and gathering gear. In the last expansion, Shadowbringers used something called Sublime Solution. Now, to get Sublime Solutions, you had to grind the most top tier crafting script, which was white scripts at that time, but now it would be purple scripts for us, so I would personally stockpile on purple script item intermediates and materials. So you can start farming the will be current Sublime Solution type material when it drops. It will also be rather expensive, so it is a great way to make money if you don't go along with crafting the crafter and gathering gear itself. And in a lot of these recipes, you had to use at least 4 Sublime Solutions per 1 craft of crafter and gathering gathering gear, people are going to be needing a lot of these. The next thing I'm stockpiling is Materia 10s, 9s, 7s, 5s, and 3s. Now, only odd number materias because that's usually what you're over melting when you're melting a piece of gear, other than the most current materia, the 10. I also don't care about the color. I am looking for any color because I'm going to use the transmutation to get the colors that I want, the greens and the blues. The next thing that I'm stockpiling is current glamour items such as the calf skin set and all the other ones that are super popular, since I assume there's going to be a ton of people coming back for the patch because it is a big point 1, big point 2, big point 3, so on and so forth, that there will be a lot of people coming back. And with the addition of new glamour slots, there might be a lot of people who would buy out some glamour items that they wouldn't have previously bought now that there is more space. And finally, the last thing that I'm stockpiling are dyes. Pure white, jet black, pastel pink, any Ishgard colors, specifically from the firmament, and any normal colors such as the soot black and the snow white. Also things like browns and beiges will also be quite good because of housing coming along. But in general, also with the new gear coming along with the Alliance raid and the new crafter and gatherer sets, people will be dyeing a lot more than usual. Now let's get into housing and what that exactly means for the market. Now, outside decorations and exteriors will now become extremely viable. I mean, everyone's going to be wanting to get a whole load of exteriors to change the outside of their house, and usually exteriors are already so expensive. Now, with the influx of people buying, you will be able to sell them a lot more quickly and for just a sheer amount of money, because even the smallest size for exteriors usually go for multiples of millions. You do need an FC and a workshop that is high enough level to craft these, but if you're in an FC that is active and full of people, you should already have a high enough level to go ahead and craft them. And of course, I'll include an exterior list from Teamcraft down below so you can go ahead and take a look which one you want to start to craft. I recommend picking one and then crafting that one exterior and going and adding in the rest, because there are a lot of materials that you need per exterior, but usually the materials cost way less than the profitability of the exterior, meaning basically it's extremely profitable to craft exteriors now and exteriors later. It will mean it'll be even more profitable. Again, outside decorations are also viable again. Usually people who already decorated their outside of their house already have done it and they're not in high demand, but now with the influx of new words and new people, there are going to be a lot of people doing their outside. Also, gardening seeds such as Ute and glaze nut will also become viable. A lot of people are going to be getting into gardening now that they have the space to do so. So I'm assuming that these seeds will jump up in price. And also in general, furniture will be selling more than ever. There are a lot of people that have new houses and they're going to be wanting to decorate. So anything that is common, a lot of plants, partitions, so on and so forth, I really recommend. But I'll make a separate video on furniture in a later date so we can go ahead and take a look at the most popular items that are used in houses and what you should be looking for specifically. So what am I going to be personally crafting? I'm really only going to be crafting foods and pots, specifically the crafting and gathering foods and pots for myself and to sell. I'm not going to be touching the gear because with the classical gear release, I literally was so distraught because I literally was not able to sell anything. There were so many people undercutting, so many people crafting, and this probably will be no different. Of course, this is what I'm gonna do. You're free to go ahead and craft as much gear as you please, but personally, I would advise against it. We'll be doing a lot of furniture and exterior specifically, have a whole load of alts that have plenty of retainer space. I'll be focusing one alt solely on furniture and one alt solely on exteriors. The exteriors are going to take a whole lot of time to craft, so I'm not going to be bothering to gather any of the material. I'm just going to buy the material off the market board, go right ahead to my FC workshop and start to craft it there. And finally, I might go into intermediates, but likely I'm usually going to just go ahead and craft the script item that is needed for the crafting and gathering gear, which would be comparable to the last expansion's Sublime Solution. But other than that, nothing specifically with gear, maybe intermediates. The intermediate market for endgame gear secure is actually not that great either, but it's not as bad as secure, so we'll see. Not necessarily crafting, but I'll also be selling my bulk of materia off. I'm going to be transmuting all my greens, yellows, and so forth into blues and greens. Again, all unnumbered materias and 10 included. So guys, that is everything that I've stockpiled, what I'm planning for 6.1, and what you should be keeping in mind for when the patch drops. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm so excited for the patch. I'm really hoping that I can make a huge amount of profit, and I'm just so excited for the housing, and good luck to anyone that's going to go ahead and try and get a beautiful house. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. Thank you so much to everyone that supports me on Twitch, Discord, and YouTube, and our lovely YouTube members. You all keep the channel going. Thank you all so much, and bye-bye!